Service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University.
Time is 10 a.m.
And a good morning. We thank you for tuning in to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Dory and I'm here with Tony, and we invite you to listen to our broadcasts both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel Monday through Friday between 10 a.m. and noon each week. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, audio reader, network mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio. And we'll kick things off with this article from the Springfield Daily Citizen. In Christian County, the chief of Clever PD says the proposal to disband the department is a, quote, injustice. The byline reads, the city announced that the Christian County Sheriff's Office could expand its partnership with Clever, quote, essentially serving in place of a police department. And we see a picture of a sign for the Clever Police Department. Clever will disband its police department if the Board of Aldermen votes to adopt a new contract with the Christian County Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff's Office would expand its partnership with Clever under the new contract, quote, essentially serving in place of a police department, according to an announcement from the city. The Clever Board of Aldermen and Christian County Sheriff Brad Cole will provide more information and be answering community members' questions at a Tuesday, May 19th town hall meeting at City Hall, 304 Clark Avenue. Police Chief Randy Blackburn told the Daily Citizen that dissolving the Clever Police Department would be, quote, an injustice. This was a decision that was already made. I had no input in it whatsoever, he said. The Christian County Sheriff's Office currently supplements coverage for the Clever Police Department, which is not staffed 24 hours a day. Blackburn said the department has lost 2 of its 7 personnel since the city indicated its plan to replace the police force. Clever Mayor Eric Bedoin mailed the Daily Citizen a statement on behalf of the Board of Aldermen, clarifying that no contract has been signed at this time. The announcement states in part, the new agreement with the Sheriff's Office would involve around-the-clock patrol and law enforcement coverage in lieu of operating our own police department. If we are to enter into a law enforcement contract with the Sheriff's Office, our police department will be closed. The Sheriff's Office brings a wealth of resources to our community and a larger staffing pool than we can maintain on our own as a city. We look forward to this partnership with the Christian County's Sheriff's Office and with Sheriff Cole. The Board of Aldermen is expected to vote on the contract during a May 26th meeting, according to the statement. The Daily Citizen attempted to reach Christian County Sheriff Brad Cole for comment, but did not hear back before publication. Blackburn stated that he learned of the city's plan during an April 28th closed session of the Board of Aldermen. The police department does not know when its staff members' final days of work would be. Quote, there are things the city didn't think through, which is going to cause issues, Blackburn said. Ongoing investigations are one of his concerns. The Clever Police Department has its own evidence room, and there are open cases. People who are not currently affiliated with the Clever Police Department should not gain access to the department's evidence and open cases, the chief said. Blackburn said he's working to ensure his officers can continue working at other law enforcement agencies if the Clever Police Department is terminated. Quote, myself and my officers are still doing our job up until when they decide this departure takes place, he said.
And a Springfield man has been sentenced for sexually abusing a 4-year-old girl decades ago while deployed in Honduras. Steve Pokin with the Springfield Daily Citizen says that a federal judge on Tuesday, May 12th, sentenced a 66-year-old Springfield man to 35 years in prison for sexually abusing a 4-year-old girl 2 decades ago while he was on active duty in the Army Reserves in Honduras. John Michael Bradley pleaded guilty May 5th, 2025, 2 hours into his trial. In open court, he changed his plea after listening to a 2023 interview with investigators in which he admitted to sexually abusing the child. Bradley, at that point in the trial, told his attorney to stop the trial because he wanted to plead guilty. A jury had been put in place, and the victim, who is now an adult, and her mother had been flown to Springfield and were in the courthouse when the trial started. The trial ended before they were called to testify. Bradley was convicted on 3 counts of aggravated sexual abuse of a minor less than 12 years old and a single count of engaging in illicit sexual conduct with a minor in a foreign place. U.S. District Court Judge Stephen Bow also ordered Bradley to serve supervised release for 10 years following the incarceration, should he live long enough to be released from prison. The indictment involved Bradley's criminal conduct between 2005 and 2006 while in Honduras during Operation Enduring Freedom, and between 2007 and 2008 when he returned multiple times as a civilian. The victim, as an adult, reported the crimes to U.S. Army Criminal Investigations Division in 2021. The defendant has a previous federal conviction in 2019 for possession of child pornography, also in the Western District of Missouri. In his opening statement to the jury a year ago, Assistant U.S. Attorney David Luna said Bradley moved into the home of the victim's mother and set his sights on the girl, according to previous Daily Citizen reporting. Luna said Bradley committed really unspeakable acts anywhere and anytime he could isolate her. Luna shared a photo of Bradley with the victim's mother, who was wearing what appeared to be a wedding dress. The marriage was not legal, unbeknownst to the woman. Luna said Bradley would show the girl pornography, child sexual abuse material, and cartoon pornography depicting the Disney characters Lilo and Stitch. Under federal statutes, Bradley faced a sentence of not less than 30 years and up to life in federal prison without parole. The case was investigated by U.S. Homeland Security Investigations, the Southwest Missouri Cyber Crimes Task Force, and U.S. Army Criminal Investigations Division.
And from the Springfield News-Leader, El Nino is expected to be a wild card for Missouri's summer weather. With summer approaching, forecasters anticipate temperatures in the Midwest remain more or less average this year, while southwest Missouri is likely to see near normal temperatures for the entirety of the season. That does not mean that heat waves will stay entirely at bay. During a Southwest Power Pool Summer 2026 preparation webinar on Monday, May 11th, Jeff Baskin, meteorologist with the SPP, presented anticipated weather conditions to its electric provider members that are part of the regional grid operator, and that does include Springfield City Utilities. Baskin said the summer is expected to be fairly similar to last summer, with near or very slightly above average temperatures. The western half of the U.S. could see some higher temperatures, while southwest Missouri is favored to see above average highs that is not explicitly forecasted, with probabilities still remaining low. And what follows is a picture of the United States and the seasonal temperature outlook. Different colors, of course, showing the different highs and lows expected, depicting the probability of temperatures rising above average in the summer months. One of the wild cards going into the summer season will be a developing El Nino, a climate phenomenon in which sea surface temperatures in the central and eastern tropical Pacific Ocean are warmer than average. Baskin said this will impact global wind circulations and therefore is likely to result in different weather patterns. While El Nino tends to impact the winters more than summers, the meteorologist said it is possible this upcoming summer is a little cooler and wetter, though that is not a guarantee. This doesn't mean the summer of 2026 is safe from heat waves, however. Baskin noted that a similar El Nino pattern occurred in 2023, which included a heat dome largely across the southern plains that resulted in SPP experiencing a record high load in energy demand. But the season also saw some lower temperature periods that overall balanced out for a fairly average season. Quote, "You don't necessarily need an overall hot summer to have a significant heat wave," Baskin said. And what follows is a picture of the seasonal precipitation outlook for the summer. While warmer temperatures can put additional strain on the power grid, the SPP projecting member utilities will be able to meet the higher demand with the electrical generation that is available. Although outages can still happen, the organization takes steps to mitigate threats to reliability and prepares to address any issues as quickly as possible. According to the National Weather Service's Climate Prediction Center, Missouri has equal chances of both above and below normal precipitation levels from June through August, with most of the U.S. in a drought period. Baskin warned that drought conditions could persist into the summer. Most of Missouri, except the southeast part of the state, is not currently in a drought. Old Farmer's Almanac is predicting that the U.S. broadly will see above normal temperatures as the summer builds. However, the almanac also aligns with possible impacts of the El Nino, as it predicts the Midwest and particularly most of Missouri to be cooler and rainier. While the anticipated lack of extremely hot temperature bout means those in the Ozarks hopefully will not be seeing peak demand on the electrical grid, CU customers still should be prepared for higher bills. CU said earlier this year that residential customers will likely pay about $14 more per month on their electricity bill than they did last year. This is due to the fact that the fuel costs for generating and purchasing electricity are higher, and a new rate increase went into effect on April 1st. Part of this is an adjustment to address higher than anticipated costs of fuel that resulted from Winter Storm Fern in January. There are several ways to conserve energy on the summer's hottest days. Those include closing drapes and shades during the day, using a smart thermostat, and weatherproofing your home to ensure cold air stays inside, among other practices.
And a Springfield man charged with selling fentanyl to a teen who overdosed and died. Jackie Rewald with the Springfield Daily Citizen brings us the story this morning that begins with a photo of Kieran Lee Troy, who was 16 when he died due to a fentanyl overdose in 2023. Here he is taking a selfie wearing a gray hooded Nike sweatshirt and having natural curls. Karan Troy was 16 and a junior at Central High School when he died of an overdose in 2023. According to court documents, Troy had messaged an acquaintance about 5 hours before his death and asked to purchase Perk, short for Percocet, a prescription combination medication that contains oxycodone and acetaminophen. What Troy allegedly obtained from that acquaintance, Trevor G. Hancock, contained fentanyl. Troy's mother, Chastity Bingham, does not believe her son knew the Perk pills he purchased contained fentanyl. Greene County prosecutors charged 21-year-old Hancock last week with the Class C felony of delivery of a controlled substance. The probable cause statement details what investigators say happened in the hours before Troy's death. According to the statement, Springfield police responded to a Mercy hospital around 2:50 a.m. May 2nd, 2023, to the report of a 16-year-old who had arrived at the hospital in cardiac arrest. The teen, later identified as Karan Troy, had been pronounced dead by the time officers arrived. Troy's parents provided an officer with their son's cell phone and passcode to open the phone. The officer looked through Troy's Facebook messages and found a thread between Troy and account RFW Trevor, later determined to be Hancock. In that thread, Troy asked to purchase Perk from Hancock. According to the statement, the two agreed on a price, a method of payment, and Hancock agreed to bring 2 Perk to Troy at an apartment complex in the 2700 block of Whiteside Street. This online conversation took place about 5 hours before Troy was taken to the hospital and pronounced dead, according to the statement. The medical examiner ruled the cause of death to be fentanyl intoxication. Following a traffic stop on August 29, 2023, Hancock was interviewed by an officer at Springfield Police Department headquarters. During that interview, Hancock allegedly admitted to being a drug user and that he was addicted to smoking Percocet. Though the officer wrote that Hancock detailed how these pills were being pressed into fake pills and contained fentanyl, there's nothing in the probable cause statement that indicates whether police believe Troy knew if the Perk pills he purchased contained fentanyl. According to the statement, Hancock told the investigator that money was tight and that he sometimes sold pills. Hancock initially denied knowing Troy, but when confronted with the Facebook messages, Hancock became upset and began to cry, the officer wrote in the report. According to the statement, Hancock told the officer he had just purchased 6 or 7 Perks when Troy sent him the message asking if Hancock had any for sale. Hancock allegedly told the officer he wanted to make a little money, so he sold 2 pills to Troy and consumed the rest. Hancock told the officer that the pills were potent, but he did not overdose. Hancock told the officer he learned of Troy's death 3 days later and told his girlfriend that Troy had passed away from the Perks, the officer wrote in the statement. The probable cause statement was written on August 13, 2024. The criminal charge was filed on May 4, 2026. The Daily Citizen reached out to Troy's mother, Chastity Bingham, on Friday, May 8th. Bingham was unaware Hancock had been charged with a crime related to her son's death. She said police had told her who they believed sold her son the drugs, but at that time were not planning to pursue charges. It felt horrible, she said. I felt like there is no justice for my son at all. I'm thankful that he's getting charged and not just getting away scot-free, Bingham said. She said she was aware her son smoked marijuana, which she did not approve of and the two argued over, and was, quote, doing things he shouldn't have been doing. But Bingham said she didn't know the extent of things until after the fact. In her view, if dealers are aware of their product contains fentanyl and they do not tell buyers, they should be charged with a more serious crime. I feel like these drug dealers need a harsher sentence, she said. If it kills somebody, I feel like they should get attempted murder. Bingham and her 3 younger sons, Troy's little brothers, have since moved away from Springfield. There's this whole world of these little gangbangers down there, and I just wanted to move somewhere new and have a fresh start, she said. And that way my sons won't be involved with Karan Troy's friends. We can start over and my other son would have a chance to pick good friends, she said, and we wouldn't be down there in that life. Bingham described Karan Troy as outgoing, funny, and caring. Because he was the oldest of her boys, Bingham said she put a lot of responsibility on him. He was good to his brothers, she said. He was always looking out for them. My youngest has really struggled with a lot because he always clung on to his older brother. Dang near every picture we have, he's holding him, she said. It's been incredibly difficult. We all miss him every single day. At the time of his death, Bingham said Karan Troy had gone to live with his father because he and his mom got into an argument over typical teenager things. Bingham said she wishes she paid closer attention to signs her son was doing something more than smoking marijuana and maybe got him into treatment. She encourages parents to pay close attention to their teens and, quote, get them help right away if they suspect their teen is using drugs. Because this day and age is not like our day and age, she said, referring to the potency and dangerousness of illicit drugs on the streets today. They get hooked so quickly on things now, and they can die from it so quickly. It's been really hard. I could have never imagined how hard it would have been before this happened, she said. The pain of losing your child is more than you could ever imagine, and it never goes away. Attempts to reach Hancock for comment on Tuesday were not successful. He does not yet have an attorney listed as representing him. Online court records show a criminal summons was issued on May 5th. Hancock is scheduled to appear in court on June 22nd. If convicted of the Class C felony, Hancock faces 3 to 10 years in prison.
And from the Springfield Business Journal, Webster County residents call for a moratorium on data center development. The audience at Monday's public meeting about a data center being built in rural Marshfield made a demand of Webster County commissioners. They want a moratorium on its construction. Webster County resident Kevin Runyon told commissioners that his home is exactly 2,526 feet away from the data center and that he was present with a group of his neighbors. Quote, there is a group of people in Marshfield that hired its own attorney, he said. As of 8 a.m. Monday morning, that attorney emailed you guys a moratorium that's already written up and waiting for your signature. He asked the commission to consider signing the one-year moratorium to give them time to gather necessary research, including impact studies, environmental studies, and information from other communities with data centers. Runyon said residents need to know what's going on. There's really nothing for our county to gain. So as our representatives, you guys, that's got to be the number one thing on your mind, he said. Why would we care to let this project happen if it's going to have negative impacts, right? Because there's no positives. If after a year the study shows there is no concern, the developers can, quote, build on, Runyon said. I'm just saying there's one already written. It's already been paid for, he said. There were few empty seats on the ground level or in the balcony of the Carl and Glessy Young Community Auditorium at Marshfield High School, which seats 646 people on the lower level, according to the Missouri State High School Activities Association. Seated behind a table on the stage, 3 commissioners, Paul Ipock, Dale Fraker, and Randy Owens, Webster County Health Unit Administrator Scott Allen, and County Clerk Stan Whitehurst. The commissioners hosted the meeting at the off-site location instead of their small courthouse chambers to hear questions or concerns about the facility, but officials admitted the raucous atmosphere was something entirely new for them. We're not practiced at this type of thing, Whitehurst said. We've not had this type of situation before, so we're learning how these meetings ought to be structured, but the back and forth isn't really working. Whitehurst's comment came 15 minutes before the end of the 2-hour session, which was marked by interjections of questions and exclamations from the audience, as well as comments by commission members and by Trent Overhoo, a partner in Lumen Solutions, LLC, which is bringing the data center to the county. Tom Houston, general manager at Webster Electric Co-op, and Aaron York, the property owner who sold 5 acres to Lumen Solutions. Following Runyon's comments, there were frequent shouts from different areas of the audience for a moratorium. Meanwhile, construction is underway, and commissioners point to their lack of authority over the development. IPOC, the presiding commissioner, emphasized the data center represents a learning process for the county leaders. Quote, we're a third-class county who you voted down planning and zoning 3 times, he said. We have attorneys working on this and trying to guide us through. IPOC was referring to Webster County's status as a Class 3 county, a Missouri county with an assessed valuation of less than $450 million, according to state statute, which gives the commission only limited authority to pass ordinances. IPOC urged the crowd to listen to the developer's comments on the plans for the facility rather than getting what he described as scary information from social media. He tells us that he's going to use so much water, going to use an enclosed amount. We've got to believe, IPOC said. The crowd interrupted IPOC with a loud objection to that sentiment, and he responded in frustration. Quote, I'd hope that we could have this meeting and people would be kind enough to stop, listen, and not read all the Facebook stuff that you're reading, he said. Fraker attempted to step in and explain the limitations of Class 3 counties, which are governed by different statutes than larger counties. Another disadvantage we have as a commission, or advantage however you look at it, there's no planning and zoning in Webster County. It's been put on the ballot and it's failed 2 to 3 times, he said. Fraker said if county residents are interested in establishing a P&Z commission, give local government oversight over developments, petition process, and ballot membership and ballot measure could decide that. Us as county commissioners, we do not set laws. We do not set rules, he said. Rather, he says we enforce the rules set by voters, courts, and the legislator. He added that the commission is receiving advice from an attorney with Carnahan Evans PC in Springfield so it can make a legal, informed opinion and recommendation. Quote, "We are not making the rules up as we go, and we're not going to start now. That's not the right way," Fraker said. "Like you, I believe the government has a place, and making the rules up as we go is not the place." Fraker said the commission was surprised by the development. Quote, "This kind of stuff is coming," he said. "We are considered in the Springfield metropolitan area. We are part of the 500,000 population. Webster County is the only county government in the metropolitan statistical area with no oversight on what goes on in the county, meaning it can't stop developments like junkyards or commercial slaughterhouses," Fraker said. "A nuclear power plant? If it comes here, we can't do a thing about it," Fraker said. Fraker promised transparency and to provide answers to the community's questions, but he cautioned that those answers can't come overnight. He also promised to make sure Lumen Solutions has followed federal and state protocols. "Moratorium," someone shouted from the audience in one instance of many to invoke the term. The meeting began with comments by Catherine Wilsey, the Norwood resident and data center activist who requested the public forum. Wiltz questioned how many data centers are planned in Webster County. How many campuses? Where are they planned? Have you talked to utility companies? Do commissioners know? Are there non-disclosure agreements signed? We deserve to know this stuff, she says. She applauded Lumen Solutions for water consumption plans, which she called a non-issue. Quote, "They're using a residential model that's 20 gallons per minute. It's 500 feet deep." She said she was excited to hear that information. "How are we going to know if we have an issue if we don't listen to the details?" But she noted the facility as planned is unusual. "Maybe we can work with Lumen to create this unicorn of a data center that is micro and clean," she says. "We then pass an ordinance or we pass some sort of structure that is so stringent that none of these big players can come in." She said over who had said there would be zero wastewater with the data center. She said Lumen has not applied for a wastewater permit with the Missouri Department of Natural Resources. Quote, "I can't find a single example where there is a closed-loop cooling system that doesn't require maintenance that cannot be flushing and purging the lines," she said. She also mentioned the fire dangers of an ultra-high density data center. "We're talking about lithium-ion batteries," she said. She raised the concern of a scenario where a lone Lumen employee on site experiences a sudden lithium fire. "These fires are next level," she said. "These fires surpass what our local guys are probably used to." Overwho in this addressed the crowd after Wiltz's remarks, noting he understood there was a lot of concern and clarified that Lumen Solutions facility would not be like the hyperscale data centers that take up millions of gallons of water, thousands of acres, and gigawatts of power. "Those types of data centers are environmentally harsh," she said. "That's not what we do. We look at how to fit into the existing areas, pockets where there is existing power or resources that we can work with the co-ops, work with the community. It truly is a non-invasive use." He said the development is 5 acres, and within that is a 12,000 square foot pad with multiple buildings. "We do high performance computing," he said. "We do research models for various industries like healthcare, banking, logistics, defense." He said the facility would use a few gallons a day from a 5-inch well, operating 20 gallons a minute, the smallest available for residential use. He added there would not be toxic sludge or environmental waste. "It should be pretty environmentally safe," he said. Representing Webster Electric Co-op, Houston said the development is limited by the size of the substation. "There is a reason he cannot put 100 acres of data center out there," he said. "The center will be limited by the size of the transformer in the substation, the size of transmission lines, and more on down the line," Houston said. "This is one circuit out of that substation," he said. "We have lots of industrial customers right now. Will it be the biggest? Yes, but we have a lot of large customers we serve at this point. This will not be a burden on Webster Electric. This is 10 megawatts. Our current system is 120 megawatts." A speaker identifying himself only as Mo asked for the commission members if they were for the data centers. Fraker said in the way the body handles government, their personal opinions make no difference in their decision-making processes. Quote, "When it comes to voting, we vote just like everybody else does," he said, "and then we do what we're told, what the public votes on, what the legislature makes us do." Mo then asked the audience, "Are you guys for the data center?" The answer, a resounding no. "If our elected officials are not here commissioning for the people, who are you commissioning for?" he asked. Fraker said the commission members are taking in all of the information they can to make decisions within statutes that must be followed. If they do not follow rules, a suit could be filed against the county, and the county would lose.
And a Springfield man has been charged with stabbing his roommate in the neck outside of a gas station. Harrison Keegan in the Springfield Daily Citizen says a Springfield man has been arrested after police say he stabbed his roommate in the neck Friday, May 8th outside of a gas station at Grand Street and Fort Avenue. William Simpson, age 34, is charged with first-degree assault and armed criminal action. A probable cause statement says the stabbing occurred at about 12:30 p.m. after Simpson and the victim arrived at the gas station in an SUV with the victim behind the wheel. The statement says police reviewed surveillance video and spoke with witnesses to determine there was a struggle in the vehicle that ended with Simpson stabbing the victim in the neck and the two men spilling out of the vehicle through the driver's side door. After the stabbing, the statement says Simpson got back in the vehicle and fled. Police spotted the SUV nearby and arrested Simpson after a brief chase. The statement says Simpson and the victim were roommates, but witnesses did not know what provoked the attack. In a document requesting that Simpson be held in jail without bond, an assistant Greene County prosecutor wrote that Simpson, quote, stabbed the victim in the neck for no known reason. The prosecutor wrote that the stab wound did not hit any arteries, but the victim received numerous stitches and staples for his injury. Court documents state that Simpson has an extensive history of drug use and prior convictions for possession of controlled substances, felony stealing, and felony forgery. Simpson is being held in jail without bond and does not have an attorney listed as representing him. Also in crime news, another man has been charged with shooting his coworker at Diversified Plastics in Nixa. Zoe McIntyre, also from the Springfield Daily Citizen, says that the Springfield man accused of shooting a coworker at Nixa's Diversified Plastics on Friday, May 9th, has been charged with first-degree assault, armed criminal action, and unlawful use of a weapon. Suspect Cale Lawrence, born in 2005, has a history of aggressive and violent behavior, according to Christian County prosecuting attorney Kristen Tui. She wrote that Lawrence is on an active deferred prosecution for a domestic assault incident where he allegedly attempted to punch and threatened to kill the victim. Diversified Plastics security camera footage from May 9th appeared to show Lawrence getting into an argument with another employee. According to a probable cause statement, surveillance footage captured Lawrence walking away, retrieving a sling bag from his vehicle and returning to a picnic table where he sat down with the other employee. Cale stood up from the table and pushed the other employee back, then reached into the sling bag and removed a black handgun, the document states. Video appeared to show Lawrence walking toward the maintenance office while chambering a round. It appeared that he was, quote, still engaged in a verbal argument with multiple employees while holding the gun, according to the statement. Surveillance video captured him walking into the maintenance office where a group of others were standing. He then began arguing with an employee referred to as Confidential Victim 2, or CV2, the statement says. Lawrence and CV2 walked toward a courtyard next to the maintenance office. Another employee, CV1, entered the camera frame and, quote, raised a large metal object and swung it towards Cale. Lawrence then fired 2 rounds, one of which struck CV1, according to the statement. CV2 picked up the metal object, striking Lawrence in an attempt to disarm him. Lawrence attempted to flee the scene but was subdued by others, the statement says. Police arrived on scene around 1:20 p.m. and observed that Lawrence was bleeding from a head wound. CV1 suffered a gunshot wound to the chest. The victim required immediate surgery for serious internal injuries, according to the probable cause statement. A warrant for Lawrence's arrest was issued May 11th. The warrant indicates that he will be held without bond. Police say Lawrence was taken to the hospital after the incident. His name did not appear on the Christian County Jail's online roster Monday morning.
From the Springfield News-Leader, in some news about Missouri State, they are introducing new mobile ticketing for campus events. People who buy tickets for Missouri State events are expected to see a new mobile ticketing system this summer, according to a community announcement. The change is said to affect athletes and other ticketed events across campus. Missouri State is partnering with Paciolin, a ticketing and marketing technology provider. According to the announcement, the new system will support Missouri State athletics and ticketed events at Great Southern Bank Arena, Juanita K. Hammonds Hall for the Performing Arts, John Goodman Amphitheater, and Koger Theater. The new setup is intended to make buying, managing, and using tickets easier. Ticket holders will be able to access tickets on their phones, transfer tickets to friends and family, and enter events with mobile scanning. The new system will add Apple Pay and Google Pay as payment options. According to the announcement, those features are meant to make checkout faster and more secure. For people who can't attend an event, the platform will allow ticket resales through SeatGeek from a user account. The platform also will be used for event information, ticket offers, and other messages tailored to a user's interest. The rollout is expected to begin this summer. And speaking of MSU, a quick look at Ryan Lochte's contract as Missouri State's new assistant swim coach. And we see a picture of Ryan along with Michael Phelps and Hungary's Laszlo Shea showing off their medals at the 2008 Olympics in Beijing. 12-time Olympic medalist and reality TV show figure Ryan Lochte will make his coaching debut as part of Missouri State University head swimming and diving coach David Collins' staff. He signed a contract with MSU on Sunday and is set to speak with reporters soon about his decision to join the Bears. Lochte, who has the third most Olympic swim medals in Team USA history, trailing only Michael Phelps, who has 28, and Katie Ledecky with 14, has also been featured in several reality TV series, most recently Food Network's Worst Cooks in America reality check that premiered earlier this year. He has familiarity with the Springfield area. He's been dating Greenwood and Drury alum Mally Gillihan. A significant pop culture figure in the 2010s, Lochte has appeared in episodes of 30 Rock, 90210, reality show The Traitors. In 2013, he was the focus of the E! Series, What Would Ryan Lochte Do? And in 2020, the focus of the Peacock documentary, In Deep with Ryan Lochte. According to the terms of his one-season contract as assistant men's and women's coach, which will be running August 1st of this year till June 30th of 2027, Lochte will make $34.10 an hour, though it does not appear to be a full-time position through the year, as he is set to make approximately $30,000 annually, according to the contract documents. He could also get incentives for success, including $750 for a conference championship or co-conference team championship, $500 per individual who qualifies for the NCAA championships, $500 for any relay team that qualifies for the NCAA championships. Collins, who has led MSU's swim team since 2010, had a salary of $85,074 in 2025-26 plus incentives. Associate head coach Chelsea Dirks-Ham made just over $52,000 plus incentives.
And a mom whose son was shot and killed in 2023 has filed a wrongful death suit naming 6 defendants. Jackie Rewald and the Springfield Daily Citizen bring us this article that opens with a photo of Caden Morton, who was 23 when he was fatally shot on June 25th, 2023. He looks like a very happy young man taking a selfie and smiling for the camera. A mother whose 23-year-old son was shot and killed in 2023 while he was helping a friend move filed a wrongful death lawsuit last week against 6 people, including the man who is believed to have pulled the trigger. Katina Morton, the mother of Caden Morton, is suing Roman Wagner, the suspected shooter, as well as Antonio Pettis, Crystal Duke, Amber Holt, Autumn Cowens, and Tyler Jean Tennis. The case was filed May 5th in Greene County Circuit Court. Caden Morton was fatally shot around 5:40 p.m. June 25th, 2023 at 902 North Glen Avenue in Springfield's Fairfield Acres neighborhood. Wagner was 16 at the time and not named publicly as a suspect in Caden Morton's death. Following is a photo of Roman Wagner, a booking photo taken by the Greene County Sheriff's Office, in which he is wearing a black and gray shirt. His hair is looking unkempt, and he looks a little less than happy against the gray cinder block wall. 2 years later, on March 4th, 2025, when Wagner was 18, he allegedly shot someone else in the parking lot of the Walmart on Kansas Expressway near Interstate 44. The victim in that case survived. For the 2025 incident, Wagner was charged with the Class B felonies of first-degree assault and unlawful use of a weapon and 2 counts of armed criminal action. He is being held in the Greene County Jail. Caden Morton's older brother, Ken, spoke with the Daily Citizen after Wagner was arrested for the Walmart parking lot shooting in 2025. Ken Morton said the family was told Wagner was not charged with anything related to Caden's death because Wagner said the shooting was self-defense. Ken Morton said Caden Morton didn't know Antonio Pettis well, but the two were friends via the online gaming community. On June 23, 2023, Pettis asked Caden Morton if he could help Pettis move. Caden, being, the guy he was, even though he didn't even really know Pettis, he had seen somebody needed his help, Ken Morton said. So he offered his hand, not thinking much of it. He went over there to help him move out, get some of his things, load up the car, get out of there. Katina Morton's wrongful death suit describes what happened next and what the family believes led to her son's death. According to the suit, Caden Morton came to 902 North Glen Road at the request of Pettis, who asked Caden Morton to help move some things out of the home. Prior to Caden arriving at the residence, and unbeknownst to him, Pettis and Cowens had, quote, exchanged heated text messages and Pettis told Cowens he was at the property and taking Cowens' property. According to the suit, Pettis didn't tell Caden Morton about the messages or the general tenor of animosity between Pettis and Cowens, and never warned Caden Morton that there might be trouble. Cowens, according to the suit, enlisted Wagner, Duke, and Holt to go to the residence on Glen Road and confront Pettis. The 4 defendants circled the home multiple times and saw Caden Morton casually packing items in his car. According to the suit, Cowens exited the vehicle and approached the residence with a handgun owned by Duke. Cowens allegedly entered the house while Caden Morton was taking the next load to put in his car. Cowens then saw Pettis and confronted him. According to the suit, Caden Morton attempted to intervene to de-escalate the situation. While this was going on, Wagner allegedly approached the residence with a gun. Cowens continued to escalate the situation, and 2 rounds were ultimately discharged from her gun, with Caden trying to direct those shots away harmlessly, the suit alleges. At the same time, Wagner approached the home and fired 6 bullets at Caden. According to the suit, Pettis fled out the back door, and Caden Morton died as a result of the gunshot wounds. Count 1 of the suit is a battery claim against Wagner. Counts 2 and 3 are negligence claims against Pettis and against Holt, Duke, and Cowens. Count 4 is a negligence claim against Tennis, who allegedly provided Wagner with the firearm, knowing Wagner was dangerous. In the suit, Tennis's address is listed as the Algoa Correctional Center in Jefferson City. Tennis pleaded guilty in 2024 to involuntary manslaughter for a different case in Webster County and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. According to charging documents from the Webster County case, Tennis and others were sitting in the victim's room when Tennis accidentally discharged a handgun and shot his friend in the head. Tennis claimed he did not know his handgun was loaded and that his finger slipped while he was unintentionally pointing the gun at his friend's head. Wagner is an inmate in the Greene County Jail. He is scheduled to stand trial for the Walmart parking lot shooting in March 2027. The other defendants named in the wrongful death suit, Pettis, Duke, Holt, and Cowens, do not have attorneys listed as representing them in the lawsuit, according to online court records.
And from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield area high school graduations scheduled for this weekend. Yes, the school year is coming to a close, which means current high school seniors are preparing to don their caps and gowns to receive their diplomas. Graduation ceremonies for many of the region's high schools are set to take place this weekend at the Great Southern Bank Arena on the Missouri State University campus. Here is when the celebrations will be taking place. And what follows is a picture of a past graduation ceremony focusing on Parkview High School graduates in their green caps and gowns. Springfield Public Schools, all the high school graduations for the Springfield School District will be taking place on Saturday, May 16th. As we mentioned, this will be at Great Southern Bank Arena, 685 South John Q. Hammonds Parkway. According to an SBS announcement, the district is set to award diplomas to about 1,900 seniors. And here are the times each school's ceremony is scheduled. Central High School, 9 a.m., Glendale at 11:30, Hillcrest, 2 p.m., Parkview, 4:30, and Kickapoo at 7. The graduations will be live streamed on the SPS website. No flowers, balloons, gifts, or noisemakers are allowed in the GSB arena, with the exception of medical bags. Bags and purses are not permitted inside the venue. Doors will open roughly 45 minutes before each ceremony and close after each ceremony begins. Families and guests must enter through the main entrance on the southeast side of the building. Following the ceremony, audience members should exit through the northeast, northwest, or southwest doors of the arena and meet their graduates on the northeast side of the building along Harrison Street. Reserved seating is not available. Section D will be reserved for the members of the deaf community. Handicap accessible seating will be located on the north and south sides of the arena. And we see a picture of some very happy graduates hugging each other after their ceremony. Parking will be available in lots north of Grand Street and south of Monroe, as well as north of Hammond Student Center in the north parking garage off of Cherry Street, and to the northwest corner of the building off of Holland and Harrison. Graduation for the Studi Alternative School will be held at 4 p.m. Thursday, May 14th at 2343 West Olive Street. Students enrolled in the Launch Virtual Learning Program will have their graduation ceremony on Tuesday, May 26th at the Glendale High School Gymnasium. Republic is set for 6 p.m. on Friday, May 15th at Great Southern Bank Arena. That also will be live streamed on the RHS website. website. For NICSA, their graduation will take place at 1:30 Sunday, May 17th at the same arena, which will open at 12:30 p.m. and no tickets required for entry. The ceremony live streamed on the NICSA Public Schools website. Commencement parking is available in lots 25, 54, Bear Park North, and Bear Park South, according to the NPS website. And Ozark High School, their graduation ceremony will be taking place at 6 p.m. on Sunday the 17th, again at Great Southern Bank Arena, with a live stream of the event set to start at 5:45 on the OHS website. And congratulations.
And a Springfield man has been sentenced to 30 years for breaking a woman's jaw. A story from Jackie Rewald in the Springfield Daily Citizen says that a Springfield man convicted of first-degree domestic assault and tampering with a witness was sentenced Thursday, May 7th, to 30 years in the Missouri Department of Corrections. Thomas David Norton, age 33, was found guilty by a jury following a 2-day trial in March in Judge Todd Meyer's courtroom. According to the charging documents, Norton broke his girlfriend's jaw and then attempted to persuade the victim to drop the charges. The assault happened on September 27, 2025. Springfield police were dispatched to a domestic disturbance and found Norton just inside the home, standing over the bloodied victim. According to a news release from Greene County Prosecuting Attorney Dan Patterson, the evidence at trial established that Norton struck the victim in the face, fracturing her jaw and making it difficult for her to speak. While later incarcerated at the Greene County Jail, Norton made recorded phone calls discussing efforts to persuade the victim to drop the charges and sent 2 letters to the victim's address disguised as correspondence to a fictitious person, asking the victim to, quote, free me up at prelim and pleading for mercy. Norton is a persistent offender under Missouri law with prior felony convictions for second-degree assault in 2022 and resisting arrest for a felony in 2013. According to the release, Norton was paroled from his prior assault sentence in December 2024, 10 months before the September 2025 domestic assault. At Thursday's hearing, Assistant Prosecutor Caitlin Frazier argued for 30 years on the assault count and 7 consecutive years on each tampering count, while the defense asked for 15 years on the assault count and 7 concurrent years on the tampering counts. Judge Myers imposed a 30-year sentence on the assault count and 7 years on each tampering count, but ordered those sentences run concurrently. Because of his persistent offender status, Norton is not eligible for parole on the witness and victim tampering accounts. Norton must serve 85% of the 30-year sentence on the domestic assault before he is eligible to be considered for parole. This sentence reflects the seriousness of what the defendant did, first to the victim and then to the integrity of the justice system when he tried to silence her, Patterson wrote in the release. Survivors of domestic violence deserve a justice system that protects them when they come forward, and our community is safer when repeat violent offenders are held fully accountable. The case was investigated by the Springfield Police Department and prosecuted by Assistant Prosecuting Attorneys Caitlin Frazier and Kim Pulley.
From the Springfield News-Leader, Missouri's MO vans update means some users must re-register now. The Missouri Department of Public Safety has completed a significant update to the Missouri Automated Victim Notification System, known as MO vans. As a result, users who want to receive notifications about offenders in local jails or detention centers must re-register, according to a community announcement. The changes took effect at 3 p.m. on May 6th, according to the announcement. To continue receiving updates, users need to visit movans.dps.mo.gov or contact the Department of Public Safety at 573-526-1929 between 8 and 5 Monday through Friday. Users who want notifications about offenders in local jails or detention centers must create a new registration. Phone and VineLink app notifications are no longer available. Users must now choose SMS text or email notifications to receive updates about local offenders. Those who receive information related only to upcoming court events or Missouri Department of Corrections offenders by text or email do not need to make any changes. They'll continue to receive notifications as before. MoVans is a tool that allows registered crime victims and concerned citizens to receive automated updates about court events, changes in custody status, and other key developments in their cases, according to the announcement. The system offers a search feature that lets users register for notifications about Missouri court events, offenders under the supervision of local jails or detention centers, or those managed by the Department of Corrections. For notifications about offenders under the supervision of the Department of Corrections, users should confirm their registration preferences by again visiting the website or by contacting the Department of Corrections. To manage their notifications related to court events or defendants, users can update their preferences on the MoVans website or contact the Department of Public Safety between 8 and 5, Monday through Friday. The next byline reads, search limitations on third-party apps. If a search for an offender does not yield information, it may become because the local jail is not currently online with the system. In such cases, users are encouraged to email MoVans at dps.mo.gov or call their number for assistance. Additionally, the Mobile Patrol Public Safety app and the Missouri Sheriff Connect app are not affiliated with the Department of Public Safety or MoVans. Users seeking notifications through these platforms should direct inquiries to those service providers, according to the announcement. The updated MoVan system includes a new case management component that will allow the Missouri Department of Corrections to improve internal tracking and management of cases. However, the process for updating or requesting a new registration for offenders in DOC custody remains unchanged, according to the announcement. MoVans remains a crucial resource for crime victims and concerned citizens, providing timely information about court events and changes in offender status. Users are encouraged to review their registration preferences to ensure they continue receiving the notifications that matter most to them.
And in other legal news, Assertion Law Firm marks a new chapter with a rebrand and owner's 30 years of legal experience. Note this post was paid for and produced by Assertion Law Firm, LLC, and the Daily Citizen newsroom was not involved in the creation of this content. Attorney Sativa Boatman reflects on 3 decades of practice while introducing a renewed vision for client-focused legal services. After 30 years of practicing law, Attorney Sativa Boatman is stepping into a new chapter. Her law firm has rebranded to a new name and is now called Assertion Law Firm, LLC, marking a fresh start while staying true to its roots. This change is about more than just a new name. It is focused on positioning for growth and a clear plan for the future. The firm continues its strong focus on helping clients while also expanding its reach and services. Before the rebrand, the firm operated as 417 Business and Elder Law. The new name, Assertion, reflects a bigger vision. It allows the firm to grow beyond the 417 area while still serving clients in Southwest Missouri. The goal is to reach more people, including those in the smaller towns of Missouri and Arkansas, who may not always have easy access to sophisticated legal help. The rebrand to Assertion Law Firm, LLC is not just cosmetic. With an expanded service area, the firm plans to grow its team beyond its current 3 attorneys. This includes hiring additional attorneys, including remote positions. Assertion Law Firm, LLC offers a wide range of legal services for individuals and businesses. In estate planning, the firm helps clients prepare for the future with wills and trusts, powers of attorney, irrevocable trusts, and special needs trusts. In elder law, the firm assists families with nursing home planning, Medicaid asset protection, and crisis planning when urgent care decisions must be made. The firm also handles probate and trust administration matters, helping families manage legal steps after the loss of a loved one. For business owners, the firm provides business law services such as business setup, contracts, and complex transactions. In addition, the firm supports clients with real estate law needs, including the sale of real estate, preparing real estate documents, and lease agreements. As client demand for litigation services in the above areas of practice has grown, the firm now handles certain court matters in-house or through collaborations with other attorneys. Each service is designed to meet clients where they are and provide clear, practical solutions. The firm's work is centered on helping people through important and often stressful moments. Whether someone is planning for the future, negotiating a business deal, or dealing with a complex issue, the firm takes time to understand each situation. Clients receive guidance that fits their specific needs. Boatman says one of the biggest changes she has seen over the years is how much clients value quick and clear communication. Today, people want answers they can understand. They also expect timely updates and easy access to their attorney. Assertion Law Firm, LLC is meeting these needs by combining years of legal experience with a modern client-first approach. The firm's commitment to virtual meeting technology is part of this effort. It offers simple ways to meet with your attorney and helps make legal support more accessible. This use of technology will help the firm grow into rural areas between the larger cities, giving more people access to legal assistance with the more complex areas of law. The law firm was originally opened in 2015 by founding attorney Sativa Boatman. Her background reflects both deep local roots and decades of legal experience. Born and raised in Springfield, Missouri, she earned her law degree from St. Louis University School of Law in 1996. She began her career practicing in St. Louis before returning home in 2004 to serve the community she knows best. Boatman works with clients in estate planning, elder law, probate, business matters, and real estate, helping them navigate important life decisions. Her goal is to make complex legal issues easier to understand so clients can move forward with confidence. She values building lasting relationships and guiding clients with clear, practical advice at every stage of life. 2026 marks Boatman's 30-year anniversary practicing law. Over that time, she has built a strong reputation for careful advice and knowledge of complex legal matters. Her experience has helped her understand the many challenges clients face. While the legal world has changed, her core values have stayed the same. These include integrity, hard work, and treating every client with care and respect. For Boatman, reaching 30 years in law is both a milestone and a new beginning. Experience brings perspective, she said, but it also brings an opportunity to expand our reach and redefine how we serve our clients through modern technology. This outlook is shaping the future of Assertion Law Firm LLC as it continues to grow and adapt. The rebrand shows a clear vision for the future. It keeps the firm grounded in its long-standing values while preparing for new opportunities. For current clients, the change reinforces a relationship built on trust. For new clients, it offers a clear message about the accessibility and expansion envisioned for the law firm's future. With a new name and 30 years of experience behind it, owner Sativa Boatman and Assertion Law Firm LLC are ready to continue serving the community with clarity, strength, and purpose.
From the Springfield News-Leader, Missouri nuclear power plant debate stalls over a funding question. And a couple of key points here. Missouri lawmakers are debating how to fund new nuclear power plants to meet growing energy demands. The debate centers on a policy called Construction Work in Progress, QUIP, CWIP, which would allow utility companies to charge customers for plants during construction. And supporters argue QUIP saves money long-term, while opponents worry that it unfairly shifts financial risks to ratepayers for costly projects. Energy demand has been growing and is expected to shoot even higher in the coming years, but the debate over how to pay for new nuclear power plants is likely stalled in the Missouri legislature for now. As electricity demand has increased, so have utility bills, which has caught the attention of customers and lawmakers alike. Some Missouri policymakers are looking forward towards nuclear power to fill that need, but finding a way to pay for multi-billion-dollar nuclear facilities has been a sticking point in the state legislature this year. Many Missouri Republicans favor nuclear energy. Speaking at the Capitol in April, State Senator Curtis Trent, a Republican from Republic, called nuclear power plants, quote, wonderful feats of technology that harness the power of the atom to give us cheap and reliable and safe electricity. And what follows is a picture of a couple of smokestacks which are apparently burning dollars. Many Missouri lawmakers agree that more nuclear power would be a good thing for the state, but finding a way to pay has been a sticking point in the state legislature this year, reads the caption. However, Republican lawmakers strongly disagree on who should pay the cost for building more power plants and when. There have been debates on both the House and Senate floor over what's called Construction Work in Progress, or QUIP. QUIP allows utility companies to charge customers for new power plants as they're being built and before they generate any electricity. This essentially shifts the financial burden to customers and away from utility companies as the project is under construction. Some lawmakers say the policy can jumpstart investment in more energy production in Missouri. They and utility companies also say it can save residents money on utility bills in the long run by keeping power producers from incurring as much debt and having to ask for rate increases to pay it off. Others, such as State Senator Joe Nicola, a Green Valley Republican, say the opposite. It'll place the burden of risky investments on Missourians, and utility bills will still shoot higher. Quote, I don't agree with using my constituents, ratepayers, as a bank for a free interest load, he says. Last year, the Missouri legislature passed a bill allowing energy companies to use QUIP to build gas power plants. In April, one day after the Missouri House passed QUIP for smaller modular nuclear reactors, the state Senate, by one vote, approved an amendment to a larger energy bill that would ban QUIP for all nuclear power. John Kaufman, an attorney for the Consumers Council of Missouri, a consumer advocacy organization, said his group supports utilities' ability to invest in nuclear power on their own. As power plants go, nuclear facilities take much longer to construct, cost more, and often run over budget. Kaufman contends that for these reasons, nuclear power plants are a dicey investment, and Missourians shouldn't have to bear that risk. It seems kind of the worst of all possible worlds. He says, we're paying for power plants that are no longer serving us, and they're asking us to start paying for power plants that are coming in the future. Corporate utility companies are overseen by the Missouri Public Service Commission, which would approve or deny the use of QUIP, as well as educate any price hikes that investor-owned utilities seek. Last year's QUIP bill included a number of consumer protections that would be enforced by state utility regulators. Rob Dixon is Vice President of Regulatory and Legislative Affairs for Ameren, Missouri. He compares QUIP to how the company's customers might budget for their own big purchases, like paying for something as you go, rather than putting it on a credit card. Dixon said, it's going to keep costs lower because you're not paying higher interest over time, and that means utility customers pay less. Jonathan Kim has been researching utility profit margins for the Energy and Policy Institute, a national nonprofit utility watchdog. He said QUIP might not make sense for Missourians who are used to getting a good or service when they pay for it. When I go to the grocery store, I'm not paying for bananas that I'll get to eat in 3 years. I'm paying for the bananas I get to eat today. He said in theory, corporate utilities should be able to invest in new power plants without customers footing the bill up front. Generally, if utilities are making a lot of profit, it means they're doing well for their shareholders, and their shareholders are going to provide them more readily with capital to spend on new generation, he said. He worries QUIP will be incentivizing corporate utilities to take risks and disincentivizing them from keeping costs down. It's not their money that they're playing with. They're playing with customer money. They're playing with the House, Kim said. The QUIP debate is likely on hold. A staffer for Senate bill sponsor Senator Mike Surratt from Lee's Summit confirmed to KBIA that the senator does not plan to bring the bill up for a final vote due to Nicola's QUIP amendment. And Ameren's Callaway Energy Center is Missouri's only nuclear plant. Dixon, who serves as the energy company's lobbyist with the Missouri legislature, said that nuclear power is a worthwhile investment for the state, evidenced by the fact that the Callaway reactor has been producing energy for over 40 years. Nuclear energy is going to continue to be a vital part of our safe and clean and reliable generation mix now and well into the future, he said. I think that continues to receive strong backing from state leaders, both in the executive branch and in the legislative branch. State Rep. John Black from Marshfield sponsored the House bill to enable the use of QUIP for building small modular nuclear reactors, a relatively novel version of nuclear power wherein the infrastructure is physically smaller than traditional nuclear power plants and produces less power. He told his colleagues in April he's confident this technology will take off, and he doesn't want Missouri to miss out. They're going to be built. They have to be built to provide the power that we need for the data centers, the growth of industry, Black said. We need those in Missouri. We want the construction jobs to build those plants. We want the jobs to operate those plants. Avery Franz analyzes energy policy at the Shelby Institute, a conservative think tank, and he agrees Missouri is posed to be a player in a nuclear renaissance if one were to happen. But he said since small modular reactors are still in development, there will be a lot of first-of-a-kind costs associated with them. We're trying to build next-generation nuclear technology that we've not really put on the grid before, Frank said. Large tech companies have shown an interest in nuclear power to fuel their energy-intensive artificial intelligence data centers, Frank said. Missouri should consider allowing businesses such as these to invest and build their own power. Instead of having us ratepayers pay to test out this new technology and absorb all the costs, we could let the private market, who has a lot more to gain from testing one of these new technologies, pay these costs. While developing new nuclear power plants could enhance Missouri industry, some worry about the impact it could have on other sectors. Dana Plesha is an attorney for companies that use large amounts of energy, such as Anheuser-Busch, Bayer, and Boeing. She says if lawmakers and the Missouri Public Service Commission allow QUIP, it could raise costs for large employers and ultimately hurt economic development. Quote, it doesn't look good for Missouri to be anti-competitive when it comes to the cost of manufacturing because that is the base of any economy, she said. Plesha said keeping electricity prices low is in Missouri's best interest and would desensitize companies from taking their business elsewhere. Companies that can move to a state with lower costs, she says, those are that energy intensive, they very well may do it.
And did you know that the metals in knee and hip replacements survive cremation? They can now be recycled. Steve Pokin with the Springfield Daily Citizen tells us about this and says you cannot only be an organ donor these days, but you can also be a post-cremation metals donor. Titanium and cobalt chromium alloys used in knee and hip replacements survived the heat of cremation and are now being recycled by companies across the nation with the help of crematories. We have a company that we use for recycling these things, and they melt them back down and recycle them, says Steve Spann, treasurer of the National Funeral Directors Association. Spann has a funeral home and crematory in Dixon, Tennessee. They're just taking these metals and breaking them down and putting them back into a liquid form and then using them again. It's not, hey, I took the hip joint out of this person and now we can recycle it and use it over here in someone else. For years, funeral home directors have used a form to review with family members prior to cremation if their loved one has a pacemaker. Crematory operators want to know because pacemakers must be removed prior to cremation because they have batteries that can explode during the heat of cremation and damage the internal crematory wall. Now, more funeral directors are asking about the post-cremation metals from prosthetic knees and hips that survive the heat of cremation. Rarely, says Spann, do families want the post-cremation metals that remain. Families like knowing metals like titanium are being melted and recycled, he says. That's pleasing to them to know it's not just being thrown away, he says. Spann says it was easy to find a post-cremation recycling company. The companies, he says, routinely attend statewide conventions for funeral directors. Matthew Holden, owner of Holden Cremation and Funeral Service in Sparta, uses the same recycling company as Spann, Noble Metals Solutions in Indianapolis. The money made by crematories through recycling is minimal. Holden says he does approximately 400 cremations a year. Noble Metals sends him a container for the metals, and Noble pays for the shipping. In return, Holden says he receives a check of about $250 a year, which he puts back into the company's operating fund. It's not a real profitable thing, he tells me. However, most families do not want them returned, but they are allowed to have them if they want. Families are glad to hear that the metals that survive cremation are being recycled, he says. They like knowing this is not going into the trash can, it's not going into a landfill, he says. Green Lawn Funeral Home has 4 locations in Springfield, one in Ozark and one in Branson. The crematory is at the business location at 3506 North National Avenue. That's where Clay Adams, client experience manager, works. He estimates Green Lawn is paid $800 to $900 a year from the post-cremation recycling company it uses, Implant Recycling LLC in Sterling Heights, Michigan. Green Lawn donates that money to charitable causes, he says. They send us a check, and that check goes into a fund that takes care of outreach, he says. The money has been used to buy children's books housed at one of the city's hospitals, he says. In addition, the money has purchased children's books on grief. It stands to reason, Adams says, that with an aging population and the growing preference for cremation, that there are more prosthetic hips and knees within the bodies of those being cremated. As a result, there are more metals surviving cremation. It's believed the growing prevalence of obesity in the United States also has played a role in the rising number of hip and knee replacements. The added weight wears down human joints. Adams tells me Green Lawn does not return any metals after cremation, it's company policy. Keep in mind, few families want the metals returned in the first place. So let's say the family says that Dad had a titanium hip replacement and we return the metal that is left after cremation and it's not titanium, he says. Then the family is going to question if these are Dad's cremains. That's why we don't return any metal. This is Poking Around column number 351.
Springfield Ballet's season finale features over 100 dancers in Beauty and the Beast. Springfield Ballet co-artistic director Jose Suarez will also premiere his original contemporary work entitled Echoes at Dusk with live accompaniment. And we see a picture of 4 of the members of the Beauty and the Beast cast. Springfield Ballet is wrapping up its 2025-26 season with an adaptation of a beloved classic fairy tale featuring a cast of more than 100 dancers. There will be 4 performances of Beauty and the Beast. They're planned for the Landers Theater at 7:30 p.m. May 15th and 16th and at 2:30 and 6:30 on May 17th. Dancers in Beauty and the Beast come from the Springfield Ballet and other Springfield area studios. There are also 2 guest performances. Daniel Wally, a Springfield native and Springfield Ballet alum, portrays the Beast. He dances professionally with Ballet North Texas. And Kyler Dibbon, Springfield Ballet's executive director, makes his company debut as Beauty's father. In addition to the classical ballet story, Springfield Ballet co-artistic director Jose Suarez will premiere his original contemporary work, Echoes at Dusk, with live accompaniment. The Springfield Symphony Orchestra Quartet will perform music written by local composer and Missouri State University faculty member Dr. Michael Murray. Murray has written for film, theater, dance, and visual art installations. His music is featured on the Navona and Sonica record labels. Live music transforms the entire experience for our dancers. Teresa Simpson, Springfield Ballet's development coordinator, said in a media release, audience will feel that difference too. Live music brings heightened energy in the theater, and the shared artistry between dancers and musicians will make each performance one-of-a-kind, can't-miss experience. Tickets for Beauty and the Beast range from $32 to $40 and are available through the Landers Theater box office. They're also available online, or you can call 417-869-1334. Springfield Ballet celebrates 50 years in 2026. This is also the inaugural season for co-artistic director Suarez and Maria Velasquez.
And quite a few celebrities celebrating birthdays today. First up, country singer Morgan Wallen is 33. Actor Robert Pattinson turns 40 today. Musician Stevie Wonder turns 76. Dennis Rodman turns 65. Stephen Colbert is 62 today. Singer Darius Rucker is the big 6-0. And Harvey Keitel is 87 today. Happy birthday to everyone celebrating. And in other entertainment news, who is Hannah Harper? A Southern Missouri singer wins American Idol. Casey Sloan brings us this story from the Springfield News-Leader that says the season 25 winner of American Idol has been crowned, and Missouri fans can be proud as she hails from the Ozarks. Hannah Harper, a 25-year-old Southern Missouri native from a musical family, won the fan vote announced Monday, May 11th during the live finale, in which she performed along with two other remaining contestants, Kayla Richardson and Jordan McCullough. I'm a puddle right now, Harper told USA Today an hour after she wept on stage with star-shaped confetti in her hair and on her lashes. All the sacrifices have been made by my family to make this happen. Had it not been for my husband, that poor man has sacrificed his entire life. Here are 5 things to know about Hannah Harper. So where is she from? Harper, the American Idol Season 24 winner, is from Willow Springs, Missouri. Growing up in southern Missouri, she was part of a family steeped in rich traditions of bluegrass gospel music, with the legacy of Bob Lewis and the Bob Lewis family as her foundation, the website states. According to USA Today, Harper became the first female country artist to win since Judge Carrie Underwood was crowned the American Idol winner in 2005. So how old is Hannah Harper? Is she married? Does she have kids? Well, Hannah is 25 years old and has 3 sons with her husband, Devin Mendenhall. The two married in April 2018. According to Mendenhall's Instagram bio, he's a fishing addict. Harper has talked about her husband several times throughout the American Idol season, praising him for taking care of their 3 boys while she pursued her musical dreams on season 24. Before auditioning for American Idol, she was a stay-at-home mom to her boys. Her first son was born in April 2019. She welcomed 2 more boys in the years since. When she auditioned for American Idol in the fall of 2025, her youngest son was 1, according to TV Insider. It didn't take long for Harper to go viral after her American Idol audition aired on ABC. During her audition, the 25-year-old performed an original song, String Cheese, which she released May 11th, 2025. The emotional ballad was inspired by her struggles with postpartum depression after the birth of her youngest son. She moved Underwood to tears during her audition. The Before He Cheats singer is the mother of 2 boys. Harper's audition quickly gained traction online, with mothers flooding the comments to praise her for the relatable tune. Her audition video alone has garnered 1 million views on YouTube. Before pursuing a solo music career, Harper performed in her family's bluegrass band known as the Harper Collective. She was in the family band, which consists of her mother and father, Katrina and Galen, her siblings, Dylan and Dalton's wife, Makina. The Harper Collective won the SPBGMA International Band Contest in 2010 and recorded 2 albums together for Pisgah Ridge and Crossroads Records, according to Entertainment Now.
Congratulations to her. Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Entertainment Center is debuting a new sign and a new name. And this week in 417 Food News, and Entertainment Center's Springfield Spot has a new name on its new sign, and a food truck has announced its last day. Plus, throwback to the 90s with camp badge-style patches from a coffee shop. Well, the first byline reads here, Area Entertainment Center debuts their rebrand. The Entertainment Center, formerly known as America's Incredible Pizza, is now sporting its new brand identity at its Springfield flagship location, 2850 South Campbell. And what follows is this very colorful, incredible sign, which black and white check and bright yellow metal on it. Incredible Food and Fun announced the rebrand in November 2025, but the signage did not immediately change. The name change and rebranding is meant to reflect the company's evolution over 25 years, growing from an all-you-can-eat pizza buffet into a nationally recognized destination for attractions, modern food experiences, and unforgettable family moments, according to the November 2025 news release. Incredible Food and Fun was established in 2001 as Incredible Pizza Company by founders Rick and Cheryl Barsness. The company is known for its 80,000 square foot indoor family entertainment centers that offer attractions, arcade games, rides, and immersive experiences alongside freshly prepared food. Facilities are smoke-free and alcohol-free. The Springfield-based chain of buffet entertainment centers has locations in Memphis, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and San Antonio. And as we mentioned, a Venezuelan food truck is closing, and we see a picture of some of the items from their menu. A Venezuelan food truck's final day was May 5th, according to a Facebook post, prompting dismay and speculation from customers. Caracas House served up traditional Venezuelan food at Metro Eats Food Park on Sunshine Street. Quote, "Today was our last day of service in the food truck. Thank you for being part of a journey," the post said. "We hope to have the opportunity to serve you again." The phrasing sparked hope from commentators about Caracas House possibly opening a brick-and-mortar location. As of publication, News-Leader was unable to confirm any future plans. Sulburn, owner, a Venezuelan native, opened the food truck in September of 2023. He came to Springfield at age 16, then returned again to be with family after a couple of years in Miami. "Like every Venezuelan, I miss my food. I miss our customs. We're far from our homeland. I miss many things, but the thing I miss most is the food, without a doubt," Sulburn said in the September 2023 interview. "And I know that there are more Venezuelans or Latinos who are settling here in Springfield." Our next byline reads, coffee shop handing out patches, and I think this is happening today. It's if you are yearning for your childhood summers free of responsibility, Scooter's Coffee is giving away a sip of 90s nostalgia. Actually, they do this each Wednesday in May. Guests who visit the shops after 11 on Wednesdays can receive a peel and stip camp badge patch while supplies last. Patches are designed to spark carefree, sun-soaked memories of summer camp in the 90s, according to a news release. They're also offering a summer menu with items like banana cream matcha, s'mores, lattes, and a grape-flavored energy drink that contains Red Bull. Scooter's Coffee has 3 locations in the Ozarks, 2930 South Campbell Avenue, 3265 East Sunshine Street in Springfield, or 604 West Mount Vernon Street in Nixa. And you're listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store's radio reading service. Hope you'll be sure and visit us in person. Check out those great daily deals at 2713 North Kansas Expressway in Springfield, Missouri. Veterans receive a 25% discount, and clothing items are available at 50% off every Wednesday. Seniors age 55 and older, a 25% discount every Tuesday.
And Rock the Block is seeking volunteers for a Springfield event. Janice Reeser with the Springfield News-Leader says Habitat for Humanity of Springfield is seeking volunteers for its Rock the Block neighborhood revitalization event, according to a community announcement. The event is scheduled for May 14th through 16th in the Woodland Heights neighborhood. Volunteers will work alongside Habitat staff and community partners from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. each day, according to the announcement. The project involves helping homeowners with essential exterior tasks such as yard cleanup, mowing, weeding, trimming trees and brush, and hauling away yard waste and unwanted items. Individuals and organizations are invited to participate for 1 or all 3 days, making it easy for anyone to get involved. This year's Rock the Block is made possible through the support of 3 key partners providing both financial and in-kind contributions. Volt Credit Union is leading the effort with a $5,000 contribution from the Cornerstone Foundation. In addition to financial support, Volt organized and assembled buckets of essential tools tailored to the most common needs of homeowners in the Woodland Heights neighborhood. These toolkits will be distributed to residents, equipping them with resources to maintain their homes well beyond the event, according to the announcement. Additional support includes donated buckets and tools from Lowe's, as well as 4 large dumpsters provided at no cost by Dumpster 417 to assist with the removal of yard waste, trash, and debris throughout the neighborhood. Rock the Block is about neighbors helping neighbors and creating lasting change together, Marissa Weaver, Director of Community Partnerships for Volt Credit Union, said in the announcement. We're proud to partner with Habitat to not only support this effort financially, but to provide tools that empower homeowners to continue caring for their homes long after the event is over. According to the announcement, Rock the Block events are part of Habitat Springfield's ongoing commitment to neighborhood revitalization, helping preserve affordable housing, increase community pride, and empower residents to invest in their homes.
Springfield's KDRU connects listeners over a Friday happy hour. This is from the Springfield News-Leader. And a couple of key points. Drury University's radio station KDRU 98.1 FM features a weekly interactive show called The Friday Happy Hour. Host Jonathan Groves creates a new theme each week and solicits song requests from listeners on social media. And the show aims to build community by playing listener-suggested songs, often focusing on lesser-known tracks. Long songs that describe motion, or songs about the seasons. If that list has you thinking about driving home from work with the windows down, you may already be a fan of KDRU's Friday Happy Hour. The brainchild of Drury Communication professor and radio host Jonathan Groves, the Friday Happy Hour features a new theme each week, which Groves posts to social media to solicit listener requests that form the bulk of each 2-hour show's community playlist. The interactive nature of the show and the focus on building community with listeners to become trademarks at KDRU 98.1 FM, which received its FCC license approval in 2016, more than 5 years after Groves became a student advisor for the long-running campus station. And we see a picture of the professor at the board at the radio station. Groves, who worked as a journalist before moving into academia, said the show is an outlet for his deeply embedded love for music and radio, going back to his work at Columbia, Missouri station KBIA while a college student. Quote, radio is not declining at the rate of legacy media, he said. Radio still has a pocket of active listenership, which has been buoyed by the introduction of podcasts. People have an appreciation for audio, no matter what form it takes. Radio is a connection point, which the world craves, especially during times of social unrest. In addition to the Friday Happy Hour playlist, Groves teaches a radio activities course, a 1-hour class in which students are trained to provide a spot on live radio. KDRU's radio station is supported by the Drury University student government body. The station currently operates on a low-power FM license, which is only available to nonprofit and educational institutions and limited to a 100-watt broadcast, enough to reach the outskirts of Springfield and thousands of listeners from Drury's campus. Groves credits Ken Otto, KDRU engineer, as a technical genius, making it possible for the station to stay on air. Otto is a Drury alum and local business owner. No stranger to radio, he started as a DJ at 11 years of age. Despite many hobbies and interests, he's always been pulled back to radio. I have KDRU on 24/7 in my home. If anything happens, I run over to the station to take care of the technical issues, Otto said. Spending 30 years in radio, I've seen many changes. KDRU offers a program for the Springfield community that is live, local, and actively takes requests from listeners for the Friday Happy Hour show. This is unique and highlights the ability of radio to stand the test of time in bringing people together to find shared interests in music. After experimenting with a different type of radio show each semester, mainly playing heavy metal and hard rock, Groves felt his weekly KDRU program needed a revamp. Working from a primetime spot from 4 to 6 p.m. each Friday, he tried to come up with ways to increase audience interaction on social media. A decade on the interactive radio request format has built a reliable following on social media. Typically midweek, Grove posts a theme on the Facebook page as well as its own personal page, which is soon followed by reader replies suggesting tunes that fit the bill. A stable of regular listeners, quote, friends of the show, as Groves called them, provide song selections each week, routinely eliciting an entertaining string of comments. But Grove says he's always excited to see new names join the conversation. Weekly themes, which sometimes come from listener suggestions as well, do vary widely. Past themes have covered songs about stupidity, cover songs, songs with prepositions in the title, songs 6 minutes or longer. That Friday happy hour actually included one 18-minute entry, or guilty pleasures. Grove said he takes some time to research each theme before posting, so to be sure he can find enough songs to fill the 2-hour weekly radio spot, though more often the problem is just having too many requests. Quote, I go with the flow of the show. I love the interaction that the Friday happy hour provides, said Groves, who's been known to ask in his cool, soothing radio voice, is anyone out there listening? He enjoys the online interaction and listener comments, which often include thanks for playing requests and exclamations from listeners who discover a new or old favorite. I want the show to feel like inviting friends over and playing music, an intimate gathering in one home, like people did when they were young and bought a new album that they were excited to share, he said. You won't often hear me play Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, or the Beatles. I lean towards lesser played artists and songs in efforts to expand the listener's genre of music appreciation. One friend of the show, Springfield musician Jen JX, said he's been an avid listener since the inception of the Friday Happy Hour community playlist. I appreciate how interactive the show is. The professor not only mixes up the music, but also seems to enjoy being pleasantly surprised by the song recommendations from his weekly call-outs. Groves has even played a few of my original tunes, which has been an absolute honor. Following the comments as requests are submitted prior to each week's show is part of the fun, he said. It's often fierce competition, though it's rewarding to hear my recommended tunes played on the Friday Happy Hour show. Charles Taylor, another Drury University communications professor, has been listening to the show for 5 years and appreciates the, quote, classic yet quirky traditions of classic college radio that it embodies. I've learned a lot about music by following the posts on Facebook, listening to the show. Groves doesn't focus on the top 40 hits like mainstream radio stations. He enjoys sharing and learning more behind-the-scenes, lesser-known tracks. KDRU has definitely broadened my horizons and musical awareness. And while fielding listener requests isn't new ground for radio, the interaction and community building the Friday Happy Hour encourages set it apart from other options on the dial. I don't think there is another show like this, certainly not in Southwest Missouri, said Brad Oliver of the Oliver Raines Group. It's unique that there are multiple ways to provide requests on social media. You can see others' choices. Since there is no specific genre, I get to hear music I wouldn't normally listen to or have heard in a long time. Oliver said he tries to offer 3 song suggestions each week. Another regular listener, Drury political science professor Dan Ponder, prides himself on attempting to find a Bob Dylan song for each upcoming theme. Ponder, who's listened to the Friday Happy Hour since it began, said sometimes Groves will indulge him. Other times, Dylan is left unplayed. The two friends enjoy the back-and-forth camaraderie, as do others joining in the weekly threads online. Quote, music is a common denominator, Ponder said. Jonathan has found a way to capitalize on that in sharing his Friday Happy Hour community playlist with both the Drury and Springfield communities. Even when the interactions take place online or over the airwaves, the human connection is real, said Oliver. I think at some point Grove should have a live get-together where listeners can congregate, maybe at an outdoor brewery, he said. You feel like you know these people that chime in week after week, though many of us have never met in person.
And the new Farmers Park owner aims to dispel a misconception. This article from Jeff Pickle and the Springfield Business Journal tells us there's a misconception when it comes to Farmers Park related to its occupancy rates. That's according to Jamie Thomas, local asset manager for Fargo, North Dakota-based Edgewood Real Estate Investment Trust. That organization purchased Farmers Park on April 30th for undisclosed terms from Matt O'Reilly of Green Circle Projects. Thomas said the Southside Development's occupancy is roughly 96% on the commercial side, with 93% on the residential side. That's a misconception with Farmers Park, Thomas said, noting occupancy rates are higher than people might think. It's not as visual as maybe the original tenant mix was. That's because retail was a large part of Farmers Park when it started, said Thomas. Farmers Park is a $22 million development that opened in 2014, according to Springfield Business Journal archives. It's been a lot of office tenants, obviously Spencer Fane being a big one, Thomas said, also pointing to Lair Chiropractic and Acupuncture, LLC, as an example of the current slate of tenants. Farmers Park additionally includes JW's Kitchen, as well as 58 apartment units. Farmers Market of the Ozarks also operates at the property year-round. Farmers Park is bookended on both sides by O'Reilly Hospitality Management, LLC properties, one being Hilton Garden Inn and the other a building that housed Houlihan's before it shuttered in January 2024, according to past SBJ reporting. Additionally, Guarantee Bank owns the building where it operates on the property, Greene County Assessor data shows. Edgewood Wright currently owns 16 properties in Springfield, said Thomas. That includes Cambium Apartments, which also is where the company's 3 local asset managers office. One of those asset managers is Abigail Perry. The purchase of Farmers Park is a full circle moment for Perry, who previously worked for O'Reilly and Green Circle Projects. I'm hoping we can take his original intent and just build on it, Perry said, calling Farmers Park a, quote, real anchor development here in our community. She added, it's unique. There's nothing in Springfield quite like it. The purchase of Farmers Park follows Edgewood Wright's July 2025 acquisition of the Quarrytown mixed-use development in Galloway Village, which was also purchased from Green Circle Projects, according to past reporting. Farmers Park and Quarrytown are a shot in the arm for Edgewood Wright's local commercial offerings, Perry said, pointing to a big focus on multifamily assets in the market. Farmers Park is a great opportunity to grow in that mixed-use space, Perry said. Edgewood Wright entered the market in 2018 through the purchase of Missouri Valley Wright, Inc. from the local Williams family of business people, according to past reporting, and the company in 2021 purchased the downtown Hears building. Edgewood Wright is a privately held investment trust with some 1,300 investors, according to past SBJ reporting. Springfield continues to stand out as a market we believe in, Thomas said in a news release about the purchase of Farmers Park. We're excited to grow our portfolio here and invest in a community that has demonstrated strong fundamentals and long-term potential. Farmers Park is a natural fit for our strategy, and we're proud to be part of its next chapter.
Springfield Council splits on how to approach future transit planning. And a couple of key points, the Springfield City Council is divided on how to implement the medium-term goals of the city's transit improvement plan. Councilman Brandon Jensen proposed an ad hoc committee of stakeholders to identify funding and align development. And Mayor Jeff Schrag countered with a proposal to use existing council committees and hire a consultant. The council voted to advance the mayor's alternative plan for future consideration. Springfield leaders are at a crossroad. The city transit system is in the middle of implementing a 20-year plan for improvements, but members of Springfield City Council have different ideas about how medium-term goals should be evaluated and implemented. In October, Springfield City Council voted 5-1 to refer the topic of establishing an ad hoc committee in order to further examine transit funding and corridor development to the Committee of the Whole. The referral, largely led by Councilman Brandon Jensen but co-requested by Councilman Derek Lee, hoped to establish a new committee of various transit stakeholders in order to identify funding for the Transit Master Plan's medium-term recommendations and align incentives and zoning with the proposed Bus Rapid Transit BRT route. And we see a picture of a bus leading the City Utilities Transit Center. This was taken just a couple of weeks ago. Operated by City Utilities, the bus is one of the few transit systems in the nation operated through a city utility company instead of a regional transit authority. But as the full council discussed the creation of such a committee on Tuesday, May 5th, Mayor Jeff Schrag proposed his own referral, turning Jensen's proposal on its head. The alternative referral would send the topic of transit to council committees instead and hire a consultant to create a best practice framework to guide future transit investment decisions. Schrag said the goal of his substitute referral to committees was to focus on identifying funding in order to achieve the goals the transit plan sets out. As part of the substitute the mayor presented to council, he also included a white paper with a scope of services for the consultant and a drafted memorandum of understanding between the city and CU regarding the consultant's work. Jensen pushed back on the new proposal, arguing that the city and CU already have all the information needed and not involving stakeholders early on will result in less effective change. The draft resolution that Jensen presented, creating the ad hoc committee on transit, will include 3 council members, members of the Board of Public Utilities, a representative from an employer whose employees utilize the transit system, and a transit user. The committee, if set up, would be charged with developing a comprehensive funding recommendation, determining the viability of providing regional transit service, and analyzing the organizational, operational structure of the system. This latter analysis is left out of Schrag's substitute. The drafted resolution also includes a directive for city staff to develop a transit-oriented development corridor plan that would encourage economic development and partnerships along the corridors identified. Jensen argued that Schrag's proposed changes would involve task council committees with reviewing consultants' findings and evaluated funding mechanisms, introduce several problems. Splitting the work between 2 committees will result in disjointed understanding of the issues, he said. and will also fall short without the input of knowledgeable stakeholders and experts. Quote, so rather than having a broad-based coalition of folks, many of whom would already have experience and expertise with the transit system, this instead charges for council members, Jensen said. And I don't know how often the members of the Community Involvement Committee utilize the transit system, or if they ever have. And that's not a negative thing. It's just there's going to be a lot of time that needs to be spent to truly understand the importance of transit. Lee, who was supportive of the substitute, said CU's transit study already engaged the stakeholders extensively and noted that funding would be, quote, a monster that council members will be more apt to consider. The proposal submitted by the mayor would first task the Community Involvement Committee with taking on transit improvements and then send the topic to the Finance and Administration Committee for funding steps. Jensen said the CIC is already set to review several large issues before it would even get to transit. The CIC has received referrals to examine tenants' right to counsel, utility growth areas, and in the past oversaw the rental inspection program. Schrag, who sees funding as the primary issue at hand, said he would be open to funding a way to get the topic to the Finance and Administration Committee, chaired by Jensen, as quickly as possible. Councilwoman Heather Hardinger, a member of the CIC, said in an ad hoc committee could be a potential recommendation made by the CIC if that is determined to be the best approach through discussions. Since Schrag took office last year, the council committee process has become the default way for new legislation or programs to make any new progress. The process has also been criticized for slowing things down. I think it's important for us as a body to kind of have a thorough understanding of this, so I appreciate that there's a plan that's been developed, Hardinger said. From your perspective, I see that you may see this as an unnecessary step, preventing, progress from taking place. I see it a bit differently. I think the committee process exists for a reason, to inform council members about the issues that exist, plan or no plan. With the substitute referral relying heavily on an outside consultant, Jensen said that while that outside voice could fit into an ad hoc committee model, too, the city already has the data and information that it needs. That includes CU study, the city's comprehensive plan, data from the Ozarks Transportation Organization, and information from the American Planning Association on necessary density to support transit, he said. The primary difference between these two is to continue studying the issue and packaging information that we largely already have to a more digestible format. That's the substitute. The original bill is to do that same work, but then actually pair it with developing a plan that has broad stakeholder interest to actually carry that out, Jensen said. So it's, do we want to take a minute, step, spend money just to gather data that we already have access to, or tell the community that we're actually going to do something meaningful about this and develop a plan? Schrag said the goal of the consultant was to put dollar amounts behind each implementation step of transit improvements identified. He said CU had already identified that consultant, Olson, which had completed its transit study 2 years ago. The consultant work would cost more than $33,000, evenly split between the city and CU, and take 12 weeks to complete. Jensen also criticized the fact that the drafted contract had been sent to the city manager several months before council members even had a chance to discuss how to proceed. Even when it comes to funding, Jensen said, engaging with partners early on is essential. And CU completed its transit study in 2024, the study outlining several medium and long-term recommendations to improve Springfield's transit system and support connectivity. The study, dubbed Connect SGF, indicates that midterm plan could be feasible within 5 to 10 years, setting implementation up by 2029 at the earliest. The plan lays out next steps for the current system to expand in a way that's still financially feasible. While these strategies may mean more buses are needed, they would not require significant new transfer facilities, the document notes. A couple of main changes the study recommends: sets out to grow the system by roughly 45% or potentially 60%, adding service for more days and times, new routes, and expanding frequency. Adds new service types such as microtransit and on-demand flexible shared ride trip, streamline routes to improve travel time, and also add new regional services to connect to outlying cities.
And several obituaries to announce this week. First up is Sarah Jane Nide, age 83, of Richardson, Texas, who passed away at 9:35 p.m. on Monday, May 4th, 2026, at the Ozarks Methodist Manor in Marionville, Missouri. Those arrangements are being provided by Williams Funeral Home. David Russell Kesterson, age 64, passed away on his birthday on February 6th, 2026, at the Methodist Richardson Medical Center in Richardson, Texas. Those arrangements are being handled by Williams Funeral Home. Ann Gonton, aged 81, passed away May 11th, 2026. Those arrangements are provided by Gorman Scharf Funeral Home. Services will be held on May 16th at 3 p.m. and a visitation on, I'm sorry, I believe that must be a misprint, May 15th at 4 to 6 p.m. James Jimmy Johnson, age 87 of Republic, Missouri, passed away peacefully on Friday, April 24th, 2026, surrounded by family after a short illness. Those arrangements are being handled by Metters Funeral Home in Republic. And finally, George McAfee Johnson, aged 80 of Springfield, passed away on Monday, May 11th from complications related to the Parkinson's disease he had lived with for several years. Those arrangements are being provided by Gorman Scharf Funeral Home. Our condolences are with all of the friends and family of those who have passed.
Ozark Lunkers team falls short of last season's goals, and despite an attendance dip, Arena League team owner is still, quote, relatively satisfied with year two. This is from the Springfield Business Journal. After finishing with a losing record in its inaugural season in 2024, last year's campaign for the Ozark Lunkers saw an improvement in team victories, but a dip in home game attendance. Owner Mark Burgess said garnering name recognition for his team, which competes in the Arena League, continues to be a challenge. The Lunkers are among 8 teams competing in the Multi-State Indoor Football League that launched 2 years ago. Quote, we just need to do a better effort, really, just getting out to the public, let them know who we are and where we are, because there are still a lot of people who don't understand what we're doing and where we're located, Burgess said. Overall, I said, well, we're relatively satisfied with year number 2. The Lunkers play home games at Wilson's Logistics Arena at the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds. Its 3rd season will begin on May 30th with a home matchup against the Eau Claire Axemen from Wisconsin. Lunkers officials said per game attendance this past season was around 2,000, roughly a 33% drop from the prior season. Burgess said the team had one of its home games over the July 4th weekend, which dragged down overall season attendance. This year, the league has no game scheduled for that first week of July. Still, Burgess said he wants to see the arena sold out. According to past Springfield Business Journal reporting, the facility promotes a roughly 6,400 seat capacity, according to its website. Obviously, our goals for this year are to see more people and more sponsorships in order to be able to sustain this long term, he says. We didn't like the fact that the attendance went down some. We've still got a very loyal fan base, and we see a lot of people coming out and people excited about it. While he declined to disclose figures, Burgess said revenue for the organization, like attendance, saw a dip in 2025. Quote, I think we were probably just a little bit in the red last year, not massively, but we put on a lot of extra stuff last year that we probably didn't need. We had a couple more full-time coaches last year that we decided now is probably not as necessary. Quote, we're just kind of tweaking the model right now, he says. This year, there's changes. Less outflow of cash, so there's still an ongoing process. The Lunkers organization currently has a staff of 5, officials said, including Cam Bruffet, who is returning for his 3rd season as head coach. He is in the process of assembling his coaching staff, according to officials. Monica Henderson, Vice President of Team Operations, said nearly half of the attendance last season was from season ticket holders, which currently number at around 900. A lot of the other ticket people are just buying them very last minute, she says, adding the Lunkers are now offering general admission tickets for the first time, which allows seating on a first-come, first-served basis. Season ticket prices range from $55 to $810 for the 4 home games. Individual tickets are ranging from $12 to $17.50 for children 3 to 12 and $17.50 through $55 for adults, while children 2 and under receive free admission. Field boxes, which surround the field and contain 8 seats, are available by calling the Lunkers. Remaining seats in the arena are available online via stubwire.com. We've added a couple of auctions, but really didn't increase prices at all, Henderson said, noting prices and fees are now included up front in the ticket price. Lunkers' website is listing over 30 sponsors, including Cox Health, Pasta Express, and Rick's Automotive, Inc. Sponsorships are on par with last season. Henderson says last season had around 60 on board, according to past SBJ reporting. We're working on getting the website up to date, she says. The league took over our website, so we just can't go in there and change it like we used to be able to. We were pretty even from year 1 to year 2 sponsorship-wise, she adds. Obviously, we are hoping to have more. Great Southern Bank is among the sponsors with the Lunkers since the team's 2024 debut. Andrea Brady, the bank's community outreach development manager, said it was, quote, an easy conversation when the opportunity to formalize a sponsorship came up. Declining to disclose financial details, she said the deal includes field-level suites and a dasherboard signage around the arena. Quote, arena football brings people together in a way that's exciting and accessible for the whole family, and the Ozark Lunkers have built something special here in Springfield. For the second straight year, a change did take place in the general manager role. Stacey Wells, who in January 2025 replaced Caleb Scott as GM, exited the role 10 months later. Wells accepted a position as CEO for the Booster Club of Lighthouse Christian Athletics, a homeschool sports nonprofit. That position opened up, and that was her decision to go over there, which was probably a good fit for her, Burgess said. That's more what she really wants to do long term. In a post announcing Wells' decision on the Facebook page of the Lunkers, she said she was thankful for my season with the Ozark Lunkers and the relationships built. I will continue to support them, she said in the post. Burgess said he currently isn't looking to hire a new GM, adding that the role is highly dependent on sales. As a result, he said that the position's duties have been split between Henderson and Christina Boyer, account executive with the Lunkers. He added Henderson basically is an acting GM. The team finished 4-5 last season, losing in the semifinals of the playoffs, but Burgess said the open tryout for players in the team held May 2nd should have the roster for the upcoming season locked in, and he's optimistic about the prospects. The fact that we now are established, we're not having to go out and chase players down like we did the first year, he said. They're coming to us, and we're being able to recruit a higher caliber of player that we weren't able to get before. Becoming a success on and off the field is still a fluid process for the Lunkers, Burgess said. Quote, we're getting a better handle on it overall. The main thing is, make sure we're giving the fans the best possible experience and the most exciting experience so that they want to come back to the game each time.
And SPS Teacher of the Year Clarissa Pullman uses Spanish to boost her students. This article from Joe Hadsall at the Springfield Daily Citizen begins with a photo of Clarissa Pullman as she walks by her students' desk clusters while they complete a time-telling radio puzzle. She has a very colorful classroom. There's banners all up along the ceiling outlining the room, and plenty of colorful artwork and stuff on the windows as well. The sign language alphabet in Clarissa Pullman's classroom stands out. Her classroom on the first floor of Pershing Middle School is a collage of color and illustrations. The most common sighting is a picture of an object along with the Spanish word describing the object. Flags of different countries in Central and South America are also displayed, as well as colorful decorations and encouraging mottos. All that makes the sign language alphabet posted above the whiteboards even more prominent. It's part of a language training tactic that encourages storytelling and physical responses. Pullman uses the sign language signs as a challenge to her students, she said. It's an aspiration of mine that if we're doing movements, that it would be nice if they were true ASL movements, Pullman said. I challenge my students, especially if I've had them since 6th grade and then they take 8th grade Spanish and they know el alfabeto. Now challenge yourself and learn that in sign language. Pullman has been named as Springfield Public Schools Teacher of the Year. The award was announced during a banquet on April 29th. Pullman was chosen from a pool of 5 finalists. The award means she will now move on to a statewide Teacher of the Year competition organized by the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Following is another photo of Clarissa Pullman as she stands in front of a whiteboard in her classroom. She's wearing a blue top and a beaded lanyard and a smile with her hair down, looking very relaxed and friendly but professional. A teacher with 16 years of experience, Pullman has been with SPS middle schoolers for the last 13 years. She was 6 months shy of earning an early childhood teaching degree, but found a calling working with youth who aren't quite kids, but not yet young adults. Her teaching emphasizes immersion in a culture. In addition to memorizing grammar rules and translated words, Pullman uses references and touch points to add familiarity. She switches languages often when giving instructions. She is also big on using movement. During a class on May 8th, where students were practicing telling time in Spanish, Pullman had students extend their arms in the same relative positions as numbers on the clock. Later in the class, she would have students stand up while comparing their answers to questions. Sometimes the movement can help strengthen a memory of something, she said. Other times, it's just to help keep kids mentally sharp. What follows is another photo of Clarissa Pullman as she's teaching her Spanish class. This one is the exercise where she had the kids raise their arms like the ones on the clock. So All the kids have their hands raised. Pullman swears by the techniques because they worked for her as a student growing up in Stratford. I struggled in high school with Spanish, but it was always a passion of mine, Pullman said. My junior year of college, I lived in Mexico and I did immersion school with students from all over the world, which was huge for me. Without Google Translate or any other digital aid, Pullman was armed only with a pocket dictionary. She made a pact with her roommate, who was from Canada. They would speak only in Spanish, resorting to English only a handful of times. A moment stands out during that trip where things really started to click. Pullman and several other students crammed in a teacher's Volkswagen Jetta and sang songs together in the parking lot. As lessons came together, Pullman realized she knew more about the foreign lyrics she heard. Following is another photo of Ms. Pullman as she is teaching a class of 8th grade Spanish students, although I've got to be honest, this group of students looks less than impressed. It was really good for me to do, Pullman said of that trip. The struggle is what made me learn. When you struggle, there is learning and growth in it. Because I know that to be true, I can help enforce that without it being too uncomfortable for kids. Another tool she uses is music. Sometimes it's a tune to remember key phrases. Other times the music is a timer that helps kids focus on a task. Pullman said she feels like she is in one of the best places she can be. Teaching a foreign language to a student who is in the midst of a transitional growth period helps at a crucial time, she said. Part of the reason she loves working with middle schoolers is because the grade levels can be overlooked, but play a tremendous role in the 4 final years of a student's academic career. It's really crucial because how successful they are in middle school most of the time is the trajectory of how well they will do in high school, Pullman said. And that's all we want for our kids. You want to prep them as much as you can and give them everything you can before that next level. Following is a close-up of the whiteboard behind Ms. Pullman as she stands in her Spanish classroom. One is definitely a handmade card written by a student that says, "For the best Spanish teacher." Another one has clearly been written by a student, and it is in Spanish. She's also got a flow chart and looks like some other informational materials and a photo up there. While foreign languages are an important part of a well-rounded education, they are not required according to Missouri learning standards. Students don't take MAP tests in them. Yet a foreign language such as Spanish can help strengthen English skills at the same time, Pullman said. It activates a part of the brain where multiple things are used at once. They have to learn verbs and subject pronouns and structures, Pullman said. There is so much that goes into it that we are actually helping students with their English skills. A lot of times, studies show that if students take any second language, it's easier to not only learn a third, but they also score better in English. Near the end of the class on May 8th, students read paragraphs about stars such as Shakira, Lionel Messi, and Frida Kahlo. Nestled in each description was a detail related to time. Students were asked to identify that time and form it on a handheld clock. Pullman said the exercise was not easy because they had to use a culmination of things they had learned throughout the year, but her students nailed it. "I hope you guys are proud of yourselves," she said to her students. "It's worth the work," she said, because she gets to see what those kids become. Her former students include everything from one interning with NASA to another operating 3 businesses to another who works at a coffee shop. "Our kids are doing amazing things," Pullman said. "With all the stuff they're doing, I'm just proud of them. I'm proud of my coworkers and our kids."
And continuing with our education theme here from the Springfield Business Journal, MSU is bucking a national undergraduate enrollment cliff. And we see a shot of the student union and, of course, the big bear statue out in front of it. Despite warnings of a national enrollment cliff hitting higher education, Missouri State University is not seeing the steep decline in traditional undergraduates that was predicted to show up during the fall semester. To the contrary, preliminary numbers for the 2026-27 year are holding steady. This is the year the demographic cliff hits. So this is the year many institutions in our region, actually all over the United States, are seeing significant declines in their fall deposits at this point in time, said Don Medley, Vice President for Enrollment Management at MSU. In a May 7th meeting of the MSU Board of Governors, Medley said the institution is bucking the trend prompted by lower birth rates during the Great Recession that started in 2008. Medley said even though MSU received fewer applications for the upcoming year. The number of first-year students putting down deposits for fall 2026 is 2,744, a 2% increase over the same time a year ago. I believe very strongly in the brand that is Missouri State. I believe very strongly in the fact that we spend a lot of time in our local community, and as belts tend to tighten in economic times, a lot of students tend to stay closer, she said. We're performing very well in the state of Missouri. MSU reported a record high of 25,238 for the Springfield campus, 27,235 for the entire system in Springfield 2025 when fall census is logged. The growth was driven in large part by more transfer students and high school students taking dual credit courses. Counts of international and graduate students were down. Medley said the university is working to recruit students from outside of Missouri, including neighboring states, but uncertainty continues regarding the enrollment of international students. She noted the number of international students applying for graduate school at MSU was 710 as of May 5th. A decline of 41% from the same period in 2025. The number admitted to graduate programs was just 542, a drop of 38%. The process for international students hoping to study in the U.S. has become more laborious, from screening requirements to the cost of obtaining a student visa, officials said. Staff members focusing on recruiting international students recently became part of enrollment, management, and services, which Medley oversees. That team is incredibly focused on doing everything they can to bring students to us, but there still remain a lot of factors outside of our control. Medley said MSU, like many higher education institutions, experienced a drop in international students during the pandemic and has not yet fully recovered. MSU also reported a dip in the number of transfer students admitted for the fall. It was 1,231 students, a drop of 5% from the same time last year. Medley said MSU recently changed its scholarship strategy for transfer students to increase numbers. She noted it's not unusual for transfer students to finalize their transfer plans just a little later. Those students right now are finishing up their spring semester, and they're like, quote, okay, now I need to get busy. I need to figure out where I'm going, she said. Our team is working very diligently with our transfer feeder schools to make sure that we're doing well in those markets.
And exciting news for Nixa. A dirty soda and tea company is coming to Nixa's former Canton Buffet. Zoe McIntyre with the Springfield Daily Citizen brings us this article that begins with a photo of the property, which is very colorful. The color scheme and artwork style lend heavily to the 80s. It says Quenchers in bold turquoise style lettering with a yellow background and bright pink and bright purple and very colorful and fun. Nixa is soon gaining a new 80s and 90s themed beverage joint in the former Canton Buffet property at 103 West Mount Vernon Street. Quenchers started in Aurora with a full menu of dirty sodas, loaded teas, and lemonades. The company hopes to be slinging drinks through the downtown Nixa drive-thru in time for Sucker Days this weekend, May 15th to 16th. Guests can order from a menu of about 80 drinks or customize hundreds of options from energy drinks to tea and sparkling water with various flavors and toppings. Since founders Tara and James Ackerman started Quenchers a year and a half ago, it has grown to 3 locations and a staff of around 35, quote, drink wizards and personnel. We're growing like a weed, quipped licensee Dakota Baxter. This is our first step in moving into what we consider a bigger market in Nixa, because Nixa is kind of a big deal in the Ozarks, James Ackerman said. The company is eyeing Ozark for one of the next potential Quenchers locations. Following is a photo from left to right of Quenchers licensees and Nixa store operators, Jaron, Casey, and Colton, the Quenchers baby Boussard, and Jason, Becky, and Dakota Baxter. That is an actual baby, by the way. Nixa's Quenchers will be the first location where visitors can walk in to purchase a drink. It is also the largest storefront to date. Quenchers previously planted drink trucks in Mount Vernon and Monette and a brick-and-mortar location of about 200 square feet in Aurora. Ackerman said the company is working to expand rapidly now that Quenchers has proof of concept. The coastal craze for dirty sodas has not fully caught on in the Midwest. The Baxters and Ackermans are trying to grow it quickly so we can kind of beat other competitors to the market, he explained. The Baxter family joined Quenchers in August 2025, taking charge of the Monette location. They will also own and operate the Nixa store. Jason Baxter said he's looking forward to meeting all the people and getting involved in the community. The company makes it a point to fundraise within the community it serves, although guests are never solicited to give donations. Quenchers refuses any tender above and beyond menu prices, as the "no tips, just sips" motto suggests. Quenchers' hours are another unique part of the business model. The small storefronts are open 7 days a week and 365 days a year, even during snow and ice, closing only for tornado sirens. Following is a photo of Quenchers founders, Tara and James Ackerman, as they throw up the company's signature hang loose hand sign. Tara is in a very brightly colored Quenchers shirt, and James is in a long sleeve white branded shirt as well. The concept for Quenchers came when the Ackermans went looking for a side hustle. James was formerly the Senior Associate Vice President of Drury Go, while Tara was a teacher at Aurora's Pate Early Childhood Center. The parents of four were working long days and stretched thin. They decided to experiment with opening a beverage truck in Aurora during Christmas vacation in 2024 to see whether they could make it a sustainable business. "We opened up on Christmas Eve, and it was just gangbusters from there," James said. "It was just a leap of faith, but it worked out really well, and the community in Aurora really rallied behind us." Good luck to them and their new venture in Nixa.
Yes, and a serial entrepreneur is also launching a new business, John Lopez. He's actually launching multiple new businesses with artificial intelligence playing a big role. Sprouting Spot LLC, 9,000 Insights AI, and Springfield Overwatch Security LLC are companies he is rolling out. Sprouting Spot is a new daycare business. It's located in Lopez's former Barkeys, which closed last year after a little trademark infringement lawsuit from Buc-ee's. Final inspections are this month, Lopez said, with a launch date projected for June. At 140 York Drive in Marshfield, Sprouting Spot will largely be driven by AI, including curriculum and more. It'll be staffed by employees and is compliant with Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education policies, he says. The daycare will have a preschool and is marketed for kids 6 and under. The thought behind it just now is that we're able to run everything admin-wise through AI, Lopez says. We're able to make the environment a better learning and focused experience environment for the future. Lopez said startup costs for Sprouting Spot were at around $250,000. He additionally cited startup capital of around $900,000 from Barkeys, some of which was useful in the formation of the new daycare. 9,000 Insights AI is an AI automation and management company that has 36 artificial intelligence agents that work 24/7, Lopez said. The company is working with an undisclosed school district superintendent to help with curriculum. Quote, "They handle a multitude of things," Lopez said of the AI agents. "It's cost-effective through AI." And for example, AI agents have assisted in hiring employees for a dispensary Lopez is opening in Atlantic City, New Jersey. AI agents built a profile of the best possible employee and then launched questionnaires to help in the process, he said. Lopez's AI tools include the Dapperdoodle social media agent as well, he says. Springfield Overwatch, with startup costs at around $100,000, is a security company that offers AI-driven cameras, drone technology, and self-docking drones, Lopez said. Lopez plans to present at 1 million cups in June.
And a U.S. Army veteran admits to sexual abuse of a child during deployment. Marta Mees with the Springfield News-Leader says 20 years after sexually abusing a minor while deployed, a U.S. Army veteran from Springfield was sentenced to 35 years in federal prison on Tuesday, May 12th. John Michael Bradley, 66, pleaded guilty to 4 counts in federal court on the first day of a jury trial after the conclusion of the first witness's testimony, according to a news release from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Missouri. 3 of those counts were of aggravated sexual abuse of a minor less than 12 years old and 1 count of engaging in illicit sexual conduct with a minor in a foreign place. Bradley's criminal conduct occurred between 2005 and 2006, while he was an active duty member of the U.S. Army in Honduras, and between 2007 and 2008, when he returned to Honduras multiple times as a civilian. He admitted that in 2005 he met the minor victim, at the time 4 years old, and sexually abused the child on numerous occasions over the course of 3 years, according to the release. After his deployment ended in 2006, Bradley admitted that he returned to Honduras with the intent to engage in sexual acts with the child. The victim, now an adult, reported the crimes in 2021 to U.S. Army Criminal Investigations Division, according to the release. Bradley had previously been federally convicted for possession of child pornography. He was sentenced to serve 35 years in prison without parole and supervised release for 10 years following his incarceration.
And big news, Fairgrove's Bill Voris is set to take over Kickapoo football program. After posting a 105-28 record with the Eagles in the small school rank, he is looking to turn Kickapoo into a winner in the Central Ozark Conference. And we see a picture of the coach. After a heavy win tenure in Fairgrove, head football coach Bill Voris is making the jump to the Class 6 ranks. He'll make the short trek south to Kickapoo, the Springfield school announced on Tuesday, taking over a Central Ozark Conference program previously led by Nate Thomas. Congratulations. And we would like to thank you so much for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service today. Be sure and tune in every week, Monday through Friday, on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel, 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. And you can listen after we're live on the Audio Reader Network, www.reader.ku.edu. Remember, all broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio. And I hope you'll take a moment, be sure and visit us at the Blind Community Thrift Store located at 2713 North Kansas Expressway in Springfield.
The time is